Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about winterizing your home and helpful tips to get ready for the winter weather here in Texas. Now I'm here in Austin, Texas today, and typically we don't get a lot of cold weather, but on occasion we'll get some Arctic blasts that come in from the north, and we've got to get these homes prepped and ready to go. Today I'm going to start off with exterior stuff that you should be knocking out. What I've got here is a sink. It's an outdoor sink. I went ahead and kind of wrapped this with a towel, kind of taped it up, just to make sure it's good to go. Now underneath here, you want to make sure that you've insulated your pipes. Really, I've just insulated the P-trap, which is at the bottom. That's what kind of holds the water in there so you don't get a lot of funky smells coming through. That's really all you really need to do here. Now, the other thing that I like to do is I'll actually turn off the water for both hot and cold, and I'll actually run any water out of here so there's no water even caught inside, and then wrap it up. So if that's wrapped up underneath is nice and insulated, you should be covered on your outdoor sink. All right, let's talk about the water heater. Some of you guys will have tankless water heaters outside. If they're in the garage, typically that garage is going to stay about 20 degrees or so warmer. So you've got a little bit of coverage there. And also it's going to be protected from getting hit by snow or getting some ice or sleet on it, which is going to really help a lot more. Now what I've done here is we've insulated these pipes, and I keep these insulated all the time. A couple different things you can do if you think there might be a power outage. You'll want to turn your valves off and then drain this thing. That's going to really kind of help get all the water out. The water's been turned off. Another thing I like to do is this little drip kind of faucet will drip out some stuff. A couple things I like to do, if it is getting cold, I'll come out of here, I'll hit this little pressure release valve, which will actually kind of like get that water kind of moving kind of throughout. And to kind of get this thing kicked on. Some of these already have automatic circulation built in, but if you lose power, that's going to put you in a really bad position because it will get some of these elements inside, they'll freeze and they'll bust. Another thing I like to do is I get this heat tape, and what I'll do is I'll put this heat tape and I'll actually wrap it around this, because this piece here, even though it gets insulated, water will get built up in it and it'll start to drip. So I'll put this heat tape on kind of this piece, get it kind of nice and smooth through. Got it plugged in. Again, you got to have power. And then I will insulate it with a nice piece of kind of foam. Now this one's a little bit short, but it should kind of give you a good idea. And again, another thing about this one too is that heat tape itself is going to keep that pipe warm so it doesn't freeze up, become an icicle, and really kind of put you in a bad position. Also got to worry about some of these guys. These guys will get filled up with water and they can bust as well. So again, that's for your hot water heater. This particular one is a Navian. You can always look online for the water heater you have to see helpful tips by YouTube or some other different spots. Now let's talk about the pool equipment. Pool equipment, typically, depending on how your pool equipment is set up, if it drops below a certain temperature, it's going to run the pumps, so they're always circulating. Again, you're going to need power for this. If you don't have power, you're going to run into a bad situation. A couple things you can do is get a generator, figure out where to get some additional power. You could always throw a blanket over your equipment and obviously have that electric blanket plugged in to some kind of electrical outlet or something with power to keep that pool equipment nice and warm. Let's walk over and check out what we should do with the hose bibs. All right guys, so on the hose bibs, one thing you want to do is obviously make sure this thing is turned off. Make sure the hose has been removed, because this hose will hold some water. As that ice, as it turns into ice, it'll expand and it'll also work itself up through here. I like to get these covers. I'll put these covers on. They're pretty easy to install. You've got this little kind of round piece on the front. You just kind of put it over this piece and take it and press it up against the house. And what that will do is that'll keep that insulated. Now, one thing I want you to see is there's a big gap in here. So this thing could still get cold and freeze. So what I tend to do is I will get some kind of rag or a towel. And what I like to do is just wrap it around here to kind of create a nice little seal. Also, if you run out of these, you can actually wrap a couple towels, and that's going to kind of help it keep insulated. So with that, I've kind of covered that up. Now I've kind of sealed up more of that gap. I put this on and I'm good to go. Honestly, guys, if I'm not using this, I'll just leave them on here all year round. The sun will start to kind of eat this up, so it's really up to you if you want to replace them, but they're really inexpensive, and you can get these on Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, or any place that really sells any kind of hardware stuff. So the other thing too, guys, is we're gonna wanna protect our plants if we can. You can get some nice blankets like this. This one actually sits up pretty high, so it'll cover a pretty large tree. It's got a zipper on it, a way you can kind of tighten everything up, but you wanna get that covered so everything's kind of enclosed in, and it's gonna keep these plants from freezing. It'll keep them warm. Another thing you can do is, if you wanna invest in some Christmas lights, incandescent Christmas lights, not your LEDs, you can actually plug those in and kind of put them around the base. And what that's gonna do is kind of create a little bit of a heat, so it kind of keeps that, those plants alive and warm to protect them from the cold weather. So a couple other helpful hints on the interior of your house is you want to drip your faucets. Now it doesn't need to be running water, just have it a nice little drip in a couple different locations. Keep your temperature interior at least at 65 degrees. Open up some of those cabinet doors, and that's really going to help that water flow throughout the house. And another helpful hint is the gutters. This is probably something that you will want to take care of before we get into the cold season, but get those gutters cleaned out. Once they fill up with leaves and then you get a bunch of water and that water turns into ice, it's really going to stop the flow, and it's going to put a lot of weight on those gutters, really causing more damage than you need. And then lastly, the trees around your house, trees around your power line, trim those up, trim them up before we even get into the season, because as those branches get water on them and they turn to ice, it's going to multiply the weight, making them snap, and it's going to snap on your vehicle, your house, potentially on your power lines, wherever it might be. So always be really precautious of that. And by the way, don't try to trim those trees around your power lines. You can call the city for that and they'll come out and do that for you. So these are some great techniques that you should do. If you want more information on how to stay nice and cozy in your house over a winter freeze in the Austin area, don't hesitate to give me a call. And if you're ever looking to buy, sell, or invest, please reach out. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Again, find me on Instagram, Facebook. Please follow me on YouTube, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.